How's it going, YouTube? Don here. In this video, I'm going to talk about whether AI will replace web development in by 2025. So I got a comment on one of my recent videos, and they were pretty much concerned about whether AI would replace web development and replace the need for web developers, right? So I just wanted to talk about this particular topic in this video here so that I can address some of the concerns here and, help you guys to make an informed decision whether you should continue to start this journey of web development and stuff like that. So, what I'm going to take from the perspective of here is I'm going to take it from a holistic, uh, holistic approach and take into account kind of my business background and what I see based on my experience. So, for those of you who don't know what my background is, I actually ran a digital marketing agency back in 2015 all the way up to 2020. So, I've seen a lot of things come and go. I was actively involved in selling websites. I wasn't actively, building the websites. I would outsource them to contractors. I'd go to local businesses and I'd sell them those websites. And I was using these no-code platforms back then. So I do have a lot of experience with these no-code platforms, and I'm very familiar with them, right? So let's answer the age-old question: will AI replace the need for web developers by 2025? The short answer is no, they will not. So let me tell you the reasons why I think this is, right? And again, just to be transparent here, this is my perspective. This is based on my experience. Obviously, I don't know everything, so take this with a grain of salt. But this is based on, I've seen a lot of trends come and go over my business career as well as in my software engineering career. So I do know a thing or two about this. So will they disappear? Why won't they disappear? Well, first of all, what you need to take a look at is you need to take a look at the businesses around you, like the startups that are currently being started out there, and see what spaces that they're in, and also what and which ones are getting acquired, and which ones are going out of business, which ones are getting bootstrapped, and which ones are hitting profitability, right? Because that's going to tell you about what's in demand right now. And you also should take a look into kind of the mainstay businesses like FANG companies and see what they're doing internally to determine whether a trend is going out of date or not, and what kind of jobs that they're posting out. Because here's the thing, right? These big companies, most of them will acquire these startups, and then they will use that technology in whatever way possible. So that's why I'm taking a look at startups. I'm seeing a look at what kind of job offerings that they're looking for, and what kind of skills that they're looking for, right? So if you take a look at all the profitable businesses, the ones that have raised Series D's, Series E, the ones that are about to go public, take a look at those ones, especially with the startups, and see what kind of job postings that they're going for and what they're asking for, right? And this is going to help you to have that insight into whether technology is dying or not, right? So what do I mean by this? Let me give you an example. Let's just say that I take a look at some job postings in January, and I see that there's a lot of front end and full stack web development jobs, but in July I'm seeing that it's starting to decrease, right? That's a big indication that it's an early warning sign that the trend is starting to go down, is when these companies out there are reducing their overhead or their hiring of these particular occupations, right? Another thing you want to look at is what kind of businesses are doing well in the no code space, right? Are there many players out there, or is it just a one in many, right? Because there are no code platforms out there that exist and have existed for the past couple years, but they've been mainstays in the industry, and there hasn't been a lot of competition that's been able to emerge from the marketplace. Now, what does this actually mean? This means that there's not really too much of a demand of these no-code platforms, right? Because you have to take a look at it from a consumer perspective, right? A consumer would probably want to do no code if they were, not very technically sound and they wanted quick implementation, right? But there's still going to be some companies that need custom implementations that these no code platforms won't, be catered towards, right? Because the problem is when you have kind of a templated platform, you're not able to customize it the way that it is. You might want to optimize your speed. You might want to optimize your UI. You might want to optimize for all these different kind of things. And this comes back to my experience running my own agency, is the fact that certain customers, especially the bigger ones, have very specific needs that these no-code platforms are not good for. These no-code platforms and the fact that they're replaced with AI, there's the thing is, here's the thing that my opinion about AI is somebody needs to program that AI to think like a human, but the human is always going to have some sort of creativity and some sort of originality in order to come up with new ideas, to come up with these, come up with new ideas and innovations. That's something that AI at this point in time is not too good at. Obviously, things can change over the next couple years, but that's basically the thing is AI does not have the human consciousness factor that we humans have. The only difference between us humans and like a chimpanzee is the fact that we have a consciousness. We're able to critically think. Whereas AI, it's only able to make predictions on what is going to be, what it thinks based on its algorithm that it thinks will be accepted by the user. But these things will take at least 10 years to actually get to the point there. And then at that point, since you're learning a good language like JavaScript, you can pivot a lot easier. You can go into React Native, you can go into the back end kind of thing. So even if the case where, web development was, replaced by AI, you can still use those skills that you gained and then use them elsewhere, right? There's always going to be needs in the market. There's always going to be problems that need to be solved. Your job as a web developer is just to find those problems and learn the skills necessary in order to get into that field, right? Because you, as a web developer, you're simply solving a problem for your client, aka your job, right? So as long as you can communicate what problem that you solve, you should be good, and AI will not replace your job. So if you found that video helpful, don't forget to hit like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments section below, and I'll see you in the next video.